Google and Microsoft. Odds are that you're probably using one of these two for your workspace, but the real question is which ecosystem is actually better for your work, better for your business? That's what we're talking about today. I have 5 different categories that we're going to break down as an evaluation. First category, we're talking about pricing. The second category, we're talking about app availability. What actual services can you get? The third thing, we're going to talk about collaboration and communication. Fourth, we're going to talk about AI, because that is the future of what these apps are going to be doing. Microsoft and Google have very different approaches to how they're using AI, so I want to dive into that. And security and the general ecosystem, which is really important, especially if you are an enterprise business or you're looking to become an enterprise business, how that actually functions. All right, without further ado, let's talk pricing. So what's safe to say is that neither of these tools are necessarily cheap. You're getting a lot for your money with some of the features, depending on which platform you're going to go for. I'm going to look at the 2 plans that are closest to each other in terms of what Google offers and what Microsoft offers. For Google, if you look at your standard pricing, you can start a trial $14 per user per month, and you get all of these features. You get their AI tools, you get the Notebook LM. I'm going to talk about the app ecosystem in a second. But what's important to mention is that Google's Workspace already includes Google Gemini, which is their AI platform, their AI tool built into the Workspace. Microsoft, on the other hand, they have several pricing options depending on which ones you're going to go for. The one that is closest to what Google's is the middle tier, this business standard, which is $12.50 per user per month. The catch is this $12.50 gets you, and this is in US dollars, gets you the basic apps. You get Teams, you get Outlook, you get Word, Excel, PowerPoint, all of those. You do not get Copilot. So this is where things get a little tricky. If you want the AI built into the Microsoft apps, you have to pay an extra $30 per user per month. So we're looking more at $42 rather than $12 versus Google, where you only really have to pay $14 per user per month for essentially the same features. So for the first category on pricing, I'm going to give this to Google because you get a heck of a lot more for bang for your buck than you do with Microsoft. Now, let's talk about what tools that you actually are getting with this product. So under the products, you can see that we have Gmail, we have Drive, which is similar to OneDrive with Microsoft. You have Meets, which is the same as Teams. So all of this is basically the same. The thing that I'll mention about the workspaces or about the app specifically, Google's apps are only cloud-based. Now, Microsoft, I think, has a heck of a lot more that you get with this payment. So I'm going to assume that you're not paying the Copilot pricing. So if you just do the base plan, not with the AI included, because the AI in Copilot is really just extra enhanced features within the apps themselves. All of Microsoft's tools you can access them cloud-based, but they're actually apps that exist on your computer. Here, under the $12.50 plan, these are the icons, I guess, of the apps that we have. So I'm going to zoom in just really quickly. You have OneNote, you have Word, Excel, PowerPoint, you have Outlook, you have Teams, you have SharePoint. For the second category of core apps, I'm going to say that Microsoft is the winner. Okay, let's talk collaboration. Now, this is where things will become a little bit more nuanced when it comes to these ecosystems because they both approach collaboration so differently. Google, as you might not be surprised, has everything in one location that everyone can access from that SharePoint. So if it's something, let's say you're working on a doc, you will have one Word document that will be the one access point where it's one web page and people can go to that web page and edit. The downside with the project collaboration on the Google side is that it's not as easy to be working in a document and then immediately connect with a team member through chat or through video. So you have to use a separate tool to access them or to get a hold of them. On the Microsoft side, while the tools collaboration is not necessarily instant, you can be working on documents with people. So there's been situations where if somebody has an Excel sheet open and you are working in that Excel sheet, you're able to work in that as well. But the downside is that document has to be shared in either a Teams page or on OneDrive, or it has to be somewhere hosted where there could be 4 or 5 different versions of that document. Let's say, as an example, you put it into Microsoft Teams and say, hey, I'm sharing this document with you. There's no one point of truth when it comes to that document specifically, because it could exist in 4 different formats. So in order to get it onto Teams, you have to have it saved somewhere else. Maybe it's on your desktop and whatever. So version control becomes very difficult, but collaboration is possible with Microsoft Teams. Where Microsoft has a bit of an upper hand is it becomes a lot easier once you are already working on a document to push one button while you're working on it and call somebody directly and have access to be able to talk to them and just say, hey, I was working on this document. Do you have a second to chat? Because everything is built in Teams, and that's kind of where things are hosted. You don't have where Google Docs or Google, you have the individual document kind of siloed away from the other tools. Microsoft has the file formats built into the collaborative tools to make it easier to work with people. So kind of a weird nuance in terms of the collaboration, in terms of how these two tools work with each other, or work with your teams, I mean. So for that reason, my verdict on which ecosystem is better is it's kind of dependent on your working style. I would say that I lean more toward the Microsoft working style, where I like having file control. Okay, so let's talk AI. These two companies are approaching AI in a very different way. Google, who is more of a consumer company where they have phones, they have computers, they have this workspace, they have YouTube. I mean, Google has a very different business model than Microsoft. Microsoft is kind of built, while Microsoft does have Surface Pros as an example, they have the tech. Most of the bread and butter of what Microsoft does comes from their subscription services, what they make money off Office, Microsoft 365. So the way that Google is approaching Copilot is that you have to opt in to buy Copilot. Now, even if you have a Surface Pro, you get Copilot, but then eventually you do have to pay on top of getting the different services and things like that. It's amazing to me though, because the way that Copilot functions is it's very integrated into the document, and the AI is specific to the app that you're using, which is very tailored and very specific. I would say a unique approach that takes a lot more effort or building to be able to actually do that. So if you're in Excel and you want to use Copilot, the Copilot for Excel is not the same as Copilot for Office. It is not the same for Copilot for PowerPoint. It's all labeled as Copilot, but the actual feature functionality is built into the tool itself, which I think is really cool. But you can see that they have Microsoft 365 Copilot built into all of their different apps. They also have a Copilot large language model, which is just a search, basically a chat GPT, but not really as good in my opinion, or if you use like a Claude. But you can do a lot more in terms of keeping your information centralized using Copilot in that way. The only problem is that you have to opt in to use it. Okay, so let's talk about Google Gemini. So Google is approaching, obviously, their AI in a very different way. Their ecosystem, they have one tool that they basically just use across all their different platforms. So they have whatever, if you're using Slides, if you're using Google Docs, if you're using Excel, it's all the same Gemini. It's not individual AIs built for individual tools, which is a blessing and a curse, mostly because you don't get as much feature heavy stuff within Google Gemini. While Google Gemini is really good, there's some stuff that it doesn't really do. So we can see it here in action. It helps you draft your emails. It helps you find the information that you're looking for. It can create videos. It can find insight through Notebook LM, which if you haven't tried that, that's a super cool tool that I recommend using. It records information on your meetings, all of that stuff. The only difference is that Copilot is built into all of these tools, while Google Gemini is integrated into the tools, but it's all one tool, kind of what Apple was trying to do with Apple Intelligence. So a couple different ways that you can look at it. I think generally speaking, I tried out both of these AI tools. I think Copilot is more powerful, mostly because it's more contextual. I think a lot of the stuff that Google is trying to do, with the exception of, I would say, your inbox and Notebook LM, the stuff that Google is trying to do in relation to their Google Gemini is just making sure that you have access to basically a chatbot, a glorified chatbot, where if you're on Google Sheet or Google Slides, as an example, you can use Google Gemini to help you create something, but you probably could get a better result if you used Gamma as an example. So in terms of which AI tool is more beneficial, as of recording this video, and this is going to be a hot take, so let me know what your opinion is. As of recording this video, I think that Google Gemini is more powerful than Copilot, and you don't have to pay extra for it if you already are paying to be in this workspace. Okay, let's talk ecosystem security. Now, because these two systems function in very different ways, Google is all web-based and Microsoft is on device. The security standards are very different. Google doesn't have to do a lot of the doesn't have a lot of the issues that Microsoft has because they have less point of failure. Now, for that reason, there's a lot of really secure ways that Google has locked down their systems. But I think Microsoft, because they have more accessibility, they have more entry points, if you will, for security issues, I think that becomes something that is more difficult to navigate. But Microsoft also really has powerful tools like Microsoft Intune or Microsoft Purview that allow companies to lock down devices, to lock down the security within their total ecosystem, which not only makes Microsoft equal level of security that Google has in terms of data leakage, like everything is locked down, everything is secure, but it adds an extra layer of usability. So you have not only more entry points to be able to use the system that you're paying for, but the actual security for it is equal to what Google's would be. For that reason, I'm going to say that the ecosystem and the security, while both of them are equal in my opinion, Microsoft has a bit more of an advantage because they have more devices or more accessibility that allows people to have access to their device without necessarily having to make it more of a burden to log in every time or something like that. So the real question is, what's the final verdict? What company wins in terms of ecosystem? I'm going to say that Microsoft is the winner here, but I will say that it's more of a nuanced answer. If you are more of a startup or if you are looking for more bang for your buck, Google is going to be the way that you're going to go 100% because you get all of the tools that Microsoft has. You have all the functionality. You have an AI assistant that's able to help you with everything, and you're just able to kind of have a more robust and integrated system that you can really use from anywhere. But I want to hear from you. Which system are you using? Let me know in the comments below. And if you want to try out Notebook LM or you want to learn more about Notebook LM, check out this video that I made talking about the one flaw that Notebook LM has. And with that, I will see you on the next one.